Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Crystal. What's my channel called? No, my channel.
Social thread.
No, it's my social thread.
Your social thread.
Not your social thread. My social thread.
Your social
Not
thread.
yours.
Yours.
I know it's mine, but you have. It's called my social thread.
Yeah.
So what's my channel called?
Your social
No,
thread.
not yours.
Mine.
Just say my social thread.
My social
That's it. Well done. My social thread. Excellent. So this is my youngest son, Xander, and my second youngest son, Zachary. And today is day 6 of Vlogmas, and we will be opening our advent calendars first of all. Boys, do you want to choose which one to open first?
No.
Which one? Okay, let's go with Fabric Godmother. And today is box number 5. So it's this one. One second. You can open it. I'm just going to show them. Box number 5 is this one. Right, boys, you can open it slowly. Is it 5 or 6?
I open it.
Sorry, it's Vlogmas. My daughter's just said it's Vlogmas day number 6. I'm confused because we record this the day before. So it's Monday today, but it's day number 6. Is that correct, Ava, Anya, Sienna? Right, let's open. Oh, no. So we've opened number 5. Day number 6 is, one second. Day number 6 is this one up here. So it's the shelf with their lovely spools. Right, number 6. Open this one, my love. Open. Just push it through. Push it. That's it. And then Mama's going to get her fingers in. 1 second. Right, let me just read this out to them. 1 second. 1 second. Take regular breaks to stretch and walk about while sewing. So you get a little tip, and it's usually connected to what's inside. Right, Xander, can you take this out? Not Xander. Sorry, Zachary, can we take this out, please? And don't open it yet. We're going to try and guess what it is. Right, you have a feel. Oh, wait. You have a feel. Figure out what that is. Xander, stop, my love. Wait, no, that was already done. Sit down.
I didn't know.
You don't know. What do you think it is? Just guess. Is it a bag? Is it a box?
Maybe a pack of needles.
Maybe a bag of needles? Right, you go. What do you think it is? Touch it. What does it feel like? Does it feel like sweeties?
Yeah.
Does it feel like paper, metal, wood? No, you have to tell me what you think it feels like. I think. Quickly. Plastic, paper, card. Plastic. Okay, so I'm going to have a go now. So it feels like a sachet of something, like a paper sachet or plastic sachet of something. And inside it feels like little balls of something soft, like it feels like kind of something knitted. So I don't know what it is. Right, Xander, open it. You can open the next one. Xander. Yeah, open it.
Oh, I told you that cake.
What did you think it was?
So
it is
I told you.
a Bird and Blend Tea Company tea bag. Spreading happiness, reimagining tea. I don't know what flavour this would be. Gingerbread chai. So you get a tea bag for box number 6, a gingerbread tie. I don't like gingerbread, so that will go to my eldest daughter who's 15. She loves ginger. I like ginger in food, in savoury food, like in stir fries, sort of oriental cooking. But drinks wise and biscuits wise, I'm not into gingerbread. So that's from Fabric Godmother. Yes, 1 second. Let's do this one next. Next box is Beyond the Pink Door. Right, Zachary, you can open this one. And it's box number 6. Zachary, please. Let's try and find it.
Number 6.
Oh, it should be. What's that?
Number 6.
Number 6. So do you want to show it to the camera? This is bag number 6. Oh no, is that 6 or 9? They've done it again.
This one's 9.
How do you know that's 9 and how do you know that's 6? Oh yeah, so number 9 has a little thing at the top, and presumably number 6 is this one here. Well, I have to guess which one. I know what it is. You guess. Feel it, squishy, and then
Box.
a box.
Yeah.
Okay, Zachary, can you guess it and see what it is? You're squeezing it. Why are you squeezing it? What do you think it is? Tell me what it is. Is it a toy? It's a box. Are you sure? Okay. I think it's a pin cushion because it's got a round, hard bottom and then a soft, squishy top.
I open it.
Oh, sorry. You open it. What?
I do that.
I'm sorry. And another. Okay, fine. Let's open it here. Oh, there. Ah, It's a pillow. It's a pincushion.
Got
Do you want to show
another
it?
one.
Do you
One's got a
want to
different
show it to the camera?
One has got a different one, Mama.
Excellent. So where's our other one that we had?
Has in her
Oh,
room.
is it in her room?
Yeah.
Okay, let me show the camera, please. So it's a lovely pincushion with a greeny grey fabric wooden base. I have one of these already. I have one from, I forget what the company's called, but I got it from Little Miss So-and-so, and it's the lady that uses Liberty fabric for her pincushion. So thank you very much. So that's from Beyond the Pink Door. Oh, let's put it here because we're going to, what's it called? We're going to rate them afterwards. And then the next one is Kylie and the Machines. Open this up. Yeah, you're going to do this one, my love. You're going to do this one. So 1 second, 20. So we're in day number 19 is this one here with the mirror. And Xander's going to open this one. Push your finger through.
Oh, I think I have to find number
It is.
6.
This is going backwards, my love. So, and then Mama, take it out. Right, Xander, take out the things. So take it out.
Labels.
They're labels. Well done. So we've got pedal to the metal. Pedal to the metal. So black labels. It says pedal to the metal, and it's a foot on the foot pedal of the sewing machine. Kylie and the Machines label at the back, and this is the first one so far in the order that I've opened them that we've got like a little design as well as writing on the label. So that's really cool. So we are going to rate them in order of our, where's the other thing gone? So what do you think should be first place, second place, and yeah, 1 second. I think personally first place for me is Beyond the Pink Door with their pincushion. Second place is Kylie and the Machines with Pedal to the Metal, and third place is Fabric Godmother with the gingerbread chai tea bag. Right, can you put this away, Aunt Sienna? In my thing bag, please. Yes, you can go now. Thank you, boys.
Thank you, Mama.
So that's that. Let me just readjust the camera. So last night I was able to, so we've done the advent calendar. Second portion of the Vlogmas is sewing chat, if there is any sewing progress that I've made. Last night I was able to cut out the Tabitha drawstring dress for my daughter Sienna, and I'll just show you the fabric and the thing that I've cut out. So, and the light and the thing, please. So it's what is this? It's the sleeve. So it's this lovely fabric here. It's not from Poppy. What was it? What was the company from? If I remember.
It was Poppy.
It wasn't Poppy. It was something
Poppy.
else.
Designed for you by, I know it's got the Poppy girl.
So it's called Shapes.
You know what's Poppy?
Designed
I
for
checked
you
up
by,
there.
oh no, we've just cut it off. Designed for you by, oh, it is Poppy. Sorry, so it is a Poppy fabric, and we bought this from Lamazi fabric, not Lamazi fabric, sorry, from Lush Cloth, blush pink background with sort of white grids. This is the sleeve cut out already. I've cut out all the other pieces as well, and then we've decided to add a cuff for the wrist, and also in a dusky pink ribbing, and also the neckband is in the dusky pink ribbing as well. I'll be able to finish that off, well, not finish it, start it and finish it off tonight, hopefully. And then maybe I just can give you a quick view of my sewing room. It is a bit of a mess at the moment, and also on my sewing channel, sort of right at the beginning, probably my third or fourth vlog, I do a proper tour of my sewing room, going through everything that's on my IKEA pegboard, all my PDF patterns, all my paper patterns, showing you my machines, my 3 machines, my Pfaff sewing machine, my Singer overlocker, and my Brother cover stitch. I also go through all my fabric stash. Obviously the fabric has now chopped and changed since then, it's been a year, but I do go through all the fabric that I did have at the time. So if you want to have a look at that, that would be at the, I think I say 3, 4 or 5th vlog on my channel. So if you scroll right down, you'll be able to see that. In the meantime, today I'll just give you a quick whiz around, and then maybe we'll go into a different room to film sort of the life portion of this vlog. So I'm going to take you, how do I do this? So this is where I was videoing. Normally I have my light stand there, overlocker, cover stitched, advent calendar boxes there, IKEA pegboard, my mannequin, fabric down here, fabric all the way up there, my recent makes, fabric again at the bottom, an ironing board full of fabric. This is the fabric that I've just cut out for Sienna's Tabitha t-shirt dress. Over here, sorry, this is a mirror, but also my son's karate outfit is on there. So we've got belts and what are these called, measuring tapes, mirror, just boxes, various boxes of haberdashery and things, PDF patterns, knitting. This is all sort of the jersey and children's fabric. That's the door to my sewing room. IKEA pegboard again. This was a lot neater when I did the first original sewing room tour vlog. The various boxes, I'm so sorry. More fabric, that's my tracing paper. These are my pattern tubes, so my trace patterns I put in here with a little label for each one. So that's a whole box there full of pattern tubes. This is my thread box, sewing machine, more patterns under there, various bits and pieces. So I'll just do a quick pan. A bit messy, but this is what a working sewing room looks like. And then as we go out this way, let me switch off the light. So you've seen, this is where I normally take my photos here. That's the sewing room. So this stand here is, I have one of those in my sewing room that I've shown you with my makes. Normally this stand, I take the plant off and I hang up my me mades on there to photograph there as well. That is a toilet. This is a room that we use for, it's got our water cylinder in it. That is my daughter's bedroom, and she also has an ensuite in there. I won't go through the rooms, obviously. Up here is our bedroom is on the right there. Then we got the loft up here. It's quite dark. Up the stairs, we've got 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. And then we've got my eldest son's room. That's his own room. And then I won't show you, I'll just give you a sneak peek. That's the boys' room, so 3 boys there. And then just go downstairs. So that's the room that I showed you yesterday. That's the front door. That's the back door. Down there we also have a toilet, a utility room and a playroom, which comes out down this end. It's really messy. I'll give you a quick peek. Please don't judge me. Let me see. Ah, mess. Children, say hello. It's like it's rehearsed, but it's not rehearsed. And then this is the front room that we normally use for quiet time. And I'm going to do the rest of the vlog in here. So I think you've seen this room before, where I videoed my interview with Rainbow Fabrics Kilburn. So we've got lovely stained glass windows on either side. Sofa. We've just got shelves, piano, desk. So Sienna normally works at this desk. And then this is actually a lovely original marble fireplace, which we don't use at the moment, but we have got this room set up as an altar because we have a family priest. My uncle-in-law is a priest, but he lives in the Caribbean, and when he does come, he celebrates mass here for us, which is lovely. So that's set up for him, and we just left it as it was because we just didn't have the time. And that's Sienna. Say hello, Sienna. And she's wearing one of my Tabitha t-shirt dresses. So I'm going to pop off now, and then I'm going to sit down and record the rest of the vlog. Hello again. So the third portion of this vlog. So I normally do advent calendar, sewing chat, and then life family chat. So this is the life family chat. And yesterday I did kind of think that I was running out of material to talk about. I will probably have snippets here and there of family life and home ed life, but for now I thought another big topic and part of my life was my law career, which was short-lived, but I enjoyed every part of it. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that. So where would I start? So yes, I mean, I guess I could just quickly tie it in with the home education. Obviously, we've chosen to home educate our children, but that's not to say we don't believe in the school system, because, you know, everything works. Every child is different and every school is different. And obviously, back then when we were at school, I don't think home education was an option, or if it was very, very unheard of. Obviously, both my husband and I went through school all the way through. We'd like to think that we came out okay with good qualifications and whatnot. So I went to obviously secondary school, and this was back in London in Greenwich Borough. Secondary school, and then college is actually where I met my husband. So we met at college, in sixth form college, and he was my first serious boyfriend, and I was his first serious girlfriend, and we've been together ever since. So we were together for 6 years before we got married, and we've been married now for 16 years. Does that make sense? Yeah, 16 years. So altogether, we've been together for 22 years. Does that make sense? 6 plus 16, 4, 5, 22 years. Yeah, so went to college, and then after that, yes, Sienna.
Does this need milk in it?
No.
Can I have it?
You want it? Gingerbread chai? You sure?
Yes,
Okay.
I just want it.
Okay. She's just wanting to drink my gingerbread chai tea that I got from Fabric Godmother. So she's also made me a lovely cup of Earl Grey. So tea, I prefer Earl Grey. I've tried Lady Grey before, and that's awful. I don't know who likes Lady Grey. I mean, I've never, anyway. I like Earl Grey, and I also drink normal tea like PG Tips or Tetley or what have you. So college, and then after college, I did a 3-year law degree in London, a London university, and then that brought me to 21 years old. And then, so for those of you that are foreign, as in not from the UK, so obviously secondary school goes up to the age of 16, then 17, 18 is college, 2 years of college or sixth form, and then 19 to 21 is 3 years generally of university, depending on the courses that you take. Medicine, for example, would be 5 years at university. Law was only 3 years, and then 1 year of the legal practice course. So if you are on track for becoming a solicitor or a lawyer, so solicitors, we call lawyers in England solicitors, it would be the legal practice course at law school. It's a 1 year course, and it's privately paid for. You don't get any funding for it, unless of course a company has chosen to sponsor you. If you're on track to becoming a barrister, which is slightly different in different countries. So a barrister in England are the lawyers that do most of the trial and court work. They have rights of audience in the Crown Courts and in the Magistrates' Courts. No, they don't. Crown Courts only, sorry. Although I'm obviously talking from experience from, I mean, how old? 18 years ago. Solicitors do have audience in the Magistrates' Courts, although now in recent years, and when I say recent years, probably the last 10 years, the solicitors are now given more rights of audience, so they can do trials in the Crown Court as well. So they are kind of overlapping with the barrister sort of duties. So originally speaking, traditionally speaking, the solicitors would do the work at the police station, work at the magistrates' court, and if the offence is an offence that requires a sentencing of more than 5 years, you would normally go to the Crown Court, and then a barrister will take over at the Crown Court, and the solicitor and their company would do all the prep work for the barrister. Nowadays, I believe that solicitors now do have a right of audience in the Crown Court, so they can go all the way through from police station, magistrates' court, Crown Court, and even, I'm not sure if they can do appeals though, so I'll have to check that, but you probably aren't interested about that anyway. So that's the 1 year at law school, and when I did it, I'm saying 18 years ago, when I did it, it was £10,000 for that 1 year. It's a funny story really. I got a loan for it. It was a NatWest loan back then. And it was £10,000. And because I was quite irresponsible as a student back then, you paid, I mean, I should have just paid it all in one go, but I paid in installments. I think you can pay across a year, like 3 times. So I paid the first installment, then I ended up spending most of the money. So when it came to my second or third installment, I didn't have enough money to pay for my fees, and I was shocked, I was scared, I was horrified, it was awful, because I'm thinking, you know, It's law school, it's only 1 year, you know, I have lots of peers with me. Anyway, everybody else had either paid their fees or were able to afford to pay their fees. And there was me, I had just spent it on going out, shopping, as you do as a teenager, although I wasn't a teenager then, as a young adult, you know, just enjoying myself, going out with friends, you know, buying clothes, you know, that sort of thing. And I was in dire straits and I did not know what to do. And I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to go back to the bank and ask for more money, because at the end of the day, really, by me asking for more money, they get more money, they get interest from it. And I went to the bank and my bank manager looked at my, you know, what is it called, statement. And he said, oh, so you've been spending it on this, and this. And he actually said no. So my my request to get another loan was rejected. And I was just like, what am I going to do? Luckily for me, at the time, I was working for a law firm already. as a kind of office junior paralegal clerk type thing. And the story about that is when I first started my law degree, so I was about 19, so maybe at the age of 20, I was looking for a part-time job. I had previously worked in Next as a retail assistant, Tyrac, a retail assistant going up to sort of manager. Well, not manager because I was quite young, but I had the keys. I was a key holder. And what was the other place? I did McDonald's as well for a short stint, as you know, as a part-time job. So anyway, I was looking for a part-time job, and I was handing out my CVs to various law firms. And this one law firm offered me a job, and at the time I was, I think, 19, 20. So it was literally just like an office junior assistant. So that's how I started off at the company. I was doing their photocopying, filing away their letters and things. And from that point onwards, I worked myself up the ranks, as it were. So then, you know, after I'd started, you know, doing the office junior sort of things, they then allowed me to join the solicitors or the trainees at the magistrates court or at the police station, where I then became a clerk essentially. And the clerk is basically someone who carries all the paperwork around and who takes notes and minutes for meetings, notes during trials, and who sits in for client meetings, that sort of thing. And then after that, I eventually became a trainee solicitor with them, which is really great. So when I didn't have the money, I went to my law firm that I was working for, and I kind of had to pour my heart out. And my office manager at the time, I had to speak to the partner, and he said, we're willing to pay for your law school if you then obviously agree to train with us and work with us. There was obviously an express time that was put in the contract, so that was great. So they paid for the rest of my law school. I then, after my 1 year of law school, I then did 2 years training at the law firm that I was already at, which was quite nice because obviously by that point I knew all the staff, I knew all the processes, I knew where everything was, I knew who the barristers were that we were working with. I knew quite a lot. I knew how they drafted their letters, how they interviewed their clients, that sort of thing, which was quite a nice way to get into it. And then I was a trainee with them for 2 years. And in that time, because it was quite a small firm, I think there was only about 20 people altogether, 4 of which were partners, solicitors, maybe about 5 or 6, trainees, about 4, and then the rest were support staff. So I was able to do quite a lot by myself from an early stage of my training, which was really, really cool. And I know that in law, criminal defense isn't where the money is. It definitely isn't where the money is. I mean, obviously, if you work your way up to a more senior level, you know, there is money to be had. But in terms of money-wise, it would be corporate law or finance or property or tax. That's the sort of law you want to go into if you want to be sort of a top-end lawyer earning, you know, sort of the top 5% of the earning world. That wasn't criminal defense. But the reason I wanted to go into criminal defense is because I've always loved trials and courts and hearings. You know, growing up, I watched, you know, all the Criminal Minds, the CSI, you know, all of these courtroom dramas. I loved all of that. And I was just so intrigued by it all. And by taking criminal defense, I was able to do that. So advocacy, which is basically standing up and advocating for your client, is the main part of criminal defense, which is what I wanted to do. And so, as I say, as a trainee, I was able to do that quite early on. sorry, not the advocacy, but to be a part of the whole, you know, trials and everything. I was able to visit clients, which sounds kind of nice, but actually my clients were criminals, essentially, or purported criminals. I mean, you know, it's alleged until they're found guilty. So I would attend prison visits, which was quite cool. Again, it was very movie-like, as in you would go in, that, you know, you'd be searched, you know, just padded down. It wasn't like a strip search or anything. You'd be padded down. There's sniffer dogs there. You'd have to put all your stuff in a locker. You'd have to walk down with the prison guard. You then get let into a cell, and then your client comes in on the other side of the table. There's a guard outside. You basically ask the questions, like if there was a piece of evidence that we needed his statement on, I would go through the evidence with the client, and I would get his comments on the statement, that sort of thing. And then I would head off home or head off back to the office. So that was what prison visits were like, and that was really cool because sometimes we had clients that were based in prison. So even if the trial is happening in London, for example, which was most of the trials as I was based in London, we would have sometimes, if they were on long remand, remand is when you're placed in custody until your trial starts or your trial is finished. So they're in custody pending trial, but they could be placed in all different parts of the country. Not too far, not like Scotland or Wales or anything, but it would be like, nothing comes to mind now. Places that I would be able to drive to. So basically, or travel to. At the time I wasn't driving, so basically instead of spending a day in the office, I would spend a day like on the train, looking through all the paperwork, and then I'd get to the prison, do my prison visit, and then I'd have lunch somewhere different and nice, because obviously I was in a different part of the area that I'm not used to, and then I would make my way back to the office. So it's kind of, for me as a young trainee, it was a bit of fun, you know, something different from your everyday 9-to-5 job in the office. And funnily enough, throughout my training contract and when I did qualify, I used to be able to identify areas of where I was working by what prison was there or by what courts was there. So for example, if I was with my friends, or just talking with someone in general, and they'd say, oh, have you been to, I don't know, let's just say, oh, have you been to so-and-so shopping centre? And I was like, oh yeah, is that by H&P Belmarsh? And they'd be like, oh yeah, it is, but how odd, how do you know that? So I would sort of identify places by the prison or the police station or the courts that were there, which is, anyway, I thought that was quite cool. And during my training, what else did I do? So I was able to sit in with the solicitors and the barristers during magistrate court appearances and Crown Court appearances. I did a lot of the prep work for the Crown Court cases. Sort of the most serious cases that I have been a part of have been a part of murder trials. Obviously, I was just part of the team that prepped the work, but that is very, very interesting. It's all consuming. It's just interesting. It's like the movies, you know, all the evidence, all the CCTV, telephone calls, you know, it's almost like when you do watch like a criminal investigation documentary. It's exactly like that, but you're in it. So that's really, really quite fascinating. And then police station visits as well. So police station visits would be if somebody is arrested, they will call a solicitor that they know, or a duty solicitor. A duty solicitor is somebody that represents somebody that's been arrested that hasn't got their own solicitor. So in our firm, we had duty solicitors on call. So I would go with them sometimes. I wouldn't go during the on-call times because they could be called out at any time. So I would go during office hour times, maybe a bit later if it wasn't too late. So that was interesting. Very boring, actually, police station visits, because there is a lot of waiting around. So when they call their solicitor in, the police, you know, do these interviews, and then it's just a lot of waiting around. And then for the most part, most clients do a no comment interview anyway. And a no comment interview is basically every time the police officer asks you a question, you just say no comment, and it goes on for the whole interview. The police will still interview you exactly as if you were answering properly. So they will go through all, you know, they will ask you, you know, where were you? What were you doing? Do you know this person? Do you know this area? You know, what happened on that day? You know, how much did you have to drink, or what car were you driving. They will ask you all the questions as if you were answering them, but the client would simply reply no comment to every single answer, every single question. And you as the solicitor would just sit there and make a note of everything. Everything is obviously recorded as well. And so no comment interviews are normally given where the client says he hasn't done it, or we haven't got any evidence to go either way. You would not normally, for the cases that we have worked with, you would not normally admit everything at the police station, because you don't have the evidence, and neither do the police have the full scope of the evidence in writing, in concrete paper form in front of you. So it's impossible to basically advise your client to say, yes, I did it, or no, I didn't do it, based on evidence that the police don't already have in writing before you that you can go through with your client. So usually, but not all the time, it would be a no comment interview. And then the next stage after police station, if the matter is quite grave, so if it's an ABH or a GBH, like actual bodily assault for an ABH, GBH, grievous bodily harm, so actual bodily harm and grievous bodily harm, and that would be a serious offence. So grievous bodily harm is normally an assault with a weapon of some sort. So a weapon could be anything as simple as a shoe, a bottle, a knife, a gun, grievous bodily harm. So those sort of cases, the suspect or the client is normally remanded into custody until the next day, when they will be produced at the magistrate's court. For slightly lesser offences like, robbery, assault, minor assaults, they normally will get bail, unless of course they're a flight risk, which means that they're likely to try and run away and they won't come back for the magistrate's court appearance. Or if they've got previous convictions, then they will be remanded in custody as well. Otherwise, you will get bail to a certain amount, and then you are due to return the next day at the magistrate's court to be processed then. Sorry. Magistrate's court hearings. So as a trainee, I wasn't able to do that. So if we just fast forward a bit, when I had qualified, I was then able to do magistrate court appearances. I wasn't able to do police station appearances because I didn't get the option really. I was just doing the magistrate's court appearances, which I was fine with. I was totally happy with that. And how that works is basically our office would have clients already from the police station. So then after the police station interviews, you would create a file for that client, send out all the appropriate letters, get all the appropriate evidence that is available at the time from the police station, and that usually consists of a simple police report, maybe a CCTV clip or something, and you would have that in your file. And then when you go to the magistrate, you have all your files with you, and normally for a day at a magistrate's court, I would have about 5 to 10 cases on me, and you'd see all the solicitors and the barristers with their little wheelie luggage with all their files in them. So I'd have about 5 to 10 cases a day. You would go in there, you would go to the court, magistrate's court. There's normally about 3 or 4 courts within the actual court building, and you would go in there, you would bow if the judge was there or the magistrate's courts were there, and then you would speak to the prosecutor and you would say, I'm so-and-so from this firm, I'm representing so-and-so, can I have the AI? AI is additional information, so that's the evidence that the police have so far. So statements, more comprehensive evidence, more comprehensive police statements, witness statements, that sort of thing. So you would then get that. It comes in a little folder. You then have quite a short amount of time to read through that yourself. So you have to learn how to speed read, get all the main salient points, speed read through all of that. Then you try and find your client in the magistrate's court lobby. You would say, is Mr. So-and-so here? You would then go into a private room, go through all those statements with him, take all his comments on all those statements, and then you would tell the clerk that you're ready to go in, and then you would go in before the magistrate's court, and before the magistrates, normally 3 magistrates, or a district judge, which is 1, normally magistrates for a first hearing. and they would then, your client would sit behind you, normally behind secure glass. Normally behind secure, no, sorry. So if your client is on bail, so you found your client in the waiting room, then the client just sits behind you. But if your client has been remanded in custody, they come up from the basement where the jails are, and they will come up and they will sit behind you, behind the protective glass where there's a security guard. So then you would have your client behind you, he's identified, you are identified at court, and then they put the charge to you, and then you put your plea in at that stage, either guilty or not guilty, not guilty or not guilty, guilty or not guilty, no, you do. And then normally, if it's a guilty, so I think the common preconception that people have about criminal defense lawyers are that they're all working for the wrong team, you know, they're all assisting criminals, they're all, you know, what's the word? Yeah, they're all, I can't think of the word, but they're all kind of promoting this lifestyle for these criminals. But actually it's far from the truth. I'm sure that it happens in some places. So for example, if you're a family lawyer for the mafia, for example, or if you're the, you know, a retained lawyer for big companies like, you know, Microsoft, they have their lawyers that they've hired or they've retained for infinite amount of time, and every time they have a legal problem they will go to that law firm. But for example, in the magistrates courts, you don't really have that relationship with that client, unless of course he's a repeat offender, but otherwise it's kind of the first time you're meeting each other, so there is no real loyalty there at all. And how it works is, once you're given the additional information, the AI from the prosecutor, you will go through that evidence with your client. If your client says, look, that didn't happen, it's not true, I didn't do that offence, you will then, that is your instructions, and as a solicitor you follow your client's instructions, and you will put that forward. Look, he didn't do this, he denies this, it's a not guilty plea from this point onwards. If, for example, and you would go with that if that's what the evidence is showing. If it's evident that, oh, you know, he probably didn't do this or he wasn't there, and there's evidence to corroborate that, then you are free to go ahead with those instructions. If, for example, the evidence is all there and he says, that's wrong, I didn't do that, but the evidence clearly shows that he did do it. For example, if he was caught red-handed on CCTV evidence, for example, or if there's, you know, hospital records of him, you know, having beat up his wife or what have you. So if there's strong enough evidence that you can see that it's more likely it should be a guilty plea, you would have to advise your client. You would say, look, I understand that you want to plead not guilty and you say you didn't do A, B, C or D. Unfortunately, the evidence is quite strong that you did do A, B, C and D. And as your solicitor, I would advise you to go for a guilty plea. You obviously get credit for pleading guilty early. If you plead not guilty and you're found guilty at the end, you get, that is minor, you lose brownie points for that as well. So you basically advise your client to go guilty. If he doesn't want to go guilty despite the evidence and despite your advice, you then withdraw from the case. So that's what I think people don't know or realize. So then you would have to say, unfortunately, you know, I've gone through the evidence with you. My professional opinion is that it's highly likely that you will be found guilty of this offence. I have advised you to go with a guilty plea. You don't want to take my advice on that, which is fair enough. It's, you know, they're totally allowed to do that. But in this scenario, unfortunately, I will have to withdraw from the case. You then have to stand up before the magistrate's court and basically say, I'm withdrawing from the case. And then they will have to find a new lawyer for him, either the duty solicitor at the time, or the client will have to go off and call another solicitor. And that's how you get out of the whole kind of, the whole kind of mentality that people think, oh, you know, lawyers, they will defend the guilty, you know, and they will pretend they're not guilty when they are guilty. So that doesn't happen really in your life. You know, if you think that the client is guilty, you would advise them to go guilty. If they don't want to go guilty, then you would withdraw yourself from the case. On the converse, if for example you've gone through the evidence and the client is obviously guilty, that the evidence is so you know, highly for his guilt, and you advise him to go guilty and he agrees, you would still represent him for sentencing. So you will try to mitigate on his behalf to lessen his sentence. And that can be, if it's a guilty plea and it's a fairly uncomplicated case, you could go for sentencing straight away. Or normally, if it requires other witness statements or a pre-sentence report from I forget what these people are called. It's like an officer that talks to them about their rehabilitation. You need to get a report from them to see if they're willing to be rehabilitated, community service, that sort of thing. So if you need one of those reports, then you would have to go before the magistrates and say, can we adjourn the hearing for extra witness statements, pre-sentence reports prior to sentencing? And then you would then attend that court hearing to mitigate for your client on sentencing. If, as I say, it's uncomplicated, you could just go for the sentencing then and there. And mitigating circumstances for a particular client. For example, it was a robbery, he stole a phone, I don't know, off somebody on the streets. Mitigating circumstances, you would normally start from his family life. How old is he? Does he work? Does he not work? Does he come from an abusive family? Does he have children? Is he in or out of work? Has he been to prison before? Actually, you wouldn't say the prison before. You don't say that. I will talk about more about that later on. Has he been into drugs? Is he trying to change his life around? Maybe he's just gotten a new job, but, and he's trying to change his life, but he, was tempted and he unfortunately, gave into that temptation. If he is showing remorse, for example, the fact that he has pled guilty early on, he accepts responsibility for what he's done. Is he sorry for what he's done? Is he willing to compensate the victim? Is he willing to go to rehabilitation? So all of these things you then ask the client about. You then formulate a statement that you will then have to present to the magistrate's court on that day. So you literally have another half an hour to go through all of this, formulate your mitigating circumstance argument. And then you would stand before the magistrate's court and you would mitigate on behalf of your client. And because it's all done so quickly and so fast, and you have a lot of information to put forward for the benefit of your client to reduce his sentence, a lot of solicitors will learn how to talk slowly and kind of draw it out a bit, because you're literally thinking on your feet. So I would probably go in and I would say, you would put sort of your lawyer voice on, and, they kind of draw out their voice a bit. So you would say, yes, madam. So, let's just say, yes, madam. The facts before you are correct. And my client has shown remorse by way of his evident early guilty plea this morning. And you would kind of put your tone up and down. You would make the words sound longer. You would add lots of filler words to puff up your sentence a bit, because you are thinking on the spot of what to say next. And remember all of the details that your client has provided you. You do have your notes before you, but standing up in front of the magistrate's court, in front of the clerk, there are obviously people in the back as well watching, your clients there. There's lots of people watching, basically. Other solicitors as well, waiting for their time to be heard. They're all sitting behind you as well. So you just kind of draw it out a bit. And then you would say, mitigating circumstances, madam, for my client are as such. Then you would say, Mr. So-and-so has had quite an eventful childhood. However, in the past 5 years, he has tried exceptionally hard to try to turn his life around, as is evident by his recent enrollment into college to further his education. On top of the fact that, and you would kind of just go through all of that, and you would just kind of draw out your words and make it sound as professional as possible. And then your client will be sentenced. So that's how that works. How long have I been talking for? 30 minutes again. That's sort of the cutoff point. So it was very interesting. I really, really enjoyed it. I was obviously very junior, so I got sort of just the junior sort of type cases. But I have done a couple of trials in my career. And I would like to say I did get 100% success rate, but it's not as it's not as fancy as it sounds, because I was only junior and because I didn't do it for that long. The 100% success rate consists of four trial cases, so 4 trials, which I mean is great. I think it's an achievement all the same, but perhaps I will talk more about that tomorrow, so I can go through my first ever trial, which I won, and then go through the trial process, maybe. And I hope that's interesting. Maybe to witness jury selection, you know, how we do that, you know, what it's like to be in the Crown Courts, barristers and their wigs and all that kind of thing. Maybe I could talk a little bit about that if that's of interest. Hopefully that was interesting for you. So I'll probably talk about trials and my law work and law career over the next 2 days, and then after that I'll have to switch to something else, I think. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you again tomorrow, which is Wednesday, right? Is it Wednesday?
Tuesday.
No, but I'm doing it a thing in advance, aren't I? I won't give you the days because I'll get confused, but it would be day 7. Day 7. Yeah? All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.